Um, so I want to thank everybody for joining my presentation. Thank you, Dustin. I've had a wonderful 9 busy months here at Archbold. I came with an overwhelmingly amount of ideas, but Dustin listened and helped me narrow those ideas down to a few. It's been exciting, challenging at times, but overall, it's been a great experience. I'm really happy to share what I've worked on. I'd like to begin my presentation with a quote by Marian Wright Edelman. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than you found it. I feel that this quote summarizes my personal mission while turning at Archbold. The outline of my presentation includes my internship experience before the COVID-19 outbreak and later transitions into my experience with virtual programs after the COVID-19 outbreak. Before COVID-19, I represented Archbold at many festivals and had many opportunities for professional development, including regional and local conferences, such as the NAAEE conference in Lexington, Kentucky, which was a full week, huge conference, and the IMAD conference here locally in Sebring. I was also able to go out on a prescribed fire and helped with gopher tortoise monitoring. As the Jill Abrahamson intern, the position is designed to have more professional development opportunities than a regular intern. So I was able to complete an education certification course with National Geographic. And here's a short clip that I want to show you from my capstone project.
We learned hands-on about the different animals like scrub jays, lizards, snakes, and plants like prickly pear cactus, lichen, and mushrooms that play an important role in the Florida scrub ecosystem by doing a quick food chain review and then going outside to explore and practice using new vocabulary.
They're all right over there.
Get outside was the main theme of this activity, encouraging students to use their senses and explore the scrub trail while filling out a scavenger hunt I created aimed at helping students practice using new terms such as consumer, producer, and decomposer.
And that was my first time making my own film too. Whoops, sorry. I'd like to just go to the next slide. There we go. Okay. Before COVID-19, we had many schools and organizations visit Archbold. We also created Archbold's first ever homeschool program. And my role in the elementary school program was field trip leader, and I worked with a lot of amazing volunteers like Dave Schwab, you see here in the photo, his wife Liz Schwab, Pat, Linda, Lee, Marilyn, and many others. Volunteers contribute many hours to make the school program so successful and help make field trips run a lot smoother. Our goal was to give students a hand-on experience and allow them to use all their senses to explore and learn about the scrub. Providing free materials such as videos, activities, and coloring books is a core part of the elementary school program. Every school that visits Archbold receives a coloring book for the students and teachers. Teachers love to use it as a resource in their classroom to go along with some of their lessons. And I wrote this newspaper article to promote the coloring book, which is also available on the Archbold website. Here you can see the students and teachers are very happy to get their new 4th edition of the coloring book. For the last 2 years, Archbold has been working on reaching schools out of Highlands County. Last year's intern, Charles Browning, visited schools to invite classrooms to Archbold. And thanks to Charles, we were invited for a second time to participate in the North Wauchula Elementary College and Career Expo. I brought Chris, an awesome volunteer, with me, and we spent all day doing fun school activities with different classes and showing Miss Poser, our Florida Pine Snake ambassador, who some of you may already know. I wanted to continue Charles' work by visiting schools out of the county. As one of my intern projects, I took on an initiative led by the University of Florida to bring a scientist to every Florida school. I was able to bring 2 research assistants to 3 different schools, reaching 310 students and 24 teachers. I got in touch with principals, teachers, Archbold program directors, and organized scheduling for visits with research staff. I was able to pursue more than one project as an intern because I also had responsibility as executive assistant to Hillary Swain, Archbold's executive director. Part of that responsibility was organizing the Spring 2020 series of public events. And so I decided to lead one of my own. I gave myself the challenge of organizing a film festival because I really wanted to reach out to the community and have an event outside of Archbold's immediate campus. It was approved, and so I went with it. I contacted the property owner of Journal Plaza in downtown Lake Placid, who agreed to allow us to show films and help promote the local brewery who had just opened the day of the event. I reached out to many filmmakers, local organizations to help put this event together. The event ended up being a complete success, and it was really fun, and we received a lot of positive feedback. It was a great way to get the community involved with what Archbold is doing and other organizations are doing for conservation. Having the professional expertise of hosts like Dustin, filmmakers like Jennifer Brown, and scientists like Dr. Betsy Rothemo to talk made it even more enjoyable and interactive. Because of its success, this event could be used as a template for future film festival events. And to get a good summary of participant demographics and feedback from our public events, I created this evaluation. We received a lot of positive feedback. Overall, the public really enjoyed the events. The average age was 66 and a half, and with a total of 55 participants who filled out a survey. Most participants learned about our events through the newspaper. I made sure to send out a press release a few days to a week before each event just to allow the public to open up their schedules. Things were going great when all of a sudden sporting events were canceled, state parks and beaches were closed, my wedding was postponed, and then Archbold closed as we all transitioned to working from home due to the coronavirus. Archbold spent about a week and a half to 2 weeks to figure out the first phase of canceling events and working from home. Many of our volunteers left Florida to go home early, and we weren't able to have a volunteer appreciation dinner. So in an effort to keep spirits high, Dustin and Alice, our volunteer coordinator, created a Zoom party to thank volunteers and celebrate all the time and effort that they had put into supporting Archbold's programs. I know this slide has a lot of information on it, but I'm only going to go over a few things. After 2 weeks of planning, Archbold created a community engagement team to ease into doing virtual programs. My role was working with Dustin and the community engagement team with the virtual discovery classroom streamed live on Zoom and Facebook every Tuesday. Our first episode was a huge learning curve. There were a lot of technical issues, but we worked as a team and came up with solutions and learned that we need to have backups. Editing the first episode took about a week and a half, but it was worth it to learn and be able to post it on Archbold's YouTube page. My responsibilities for the Tuesday's virtual discovery classroom included moderating, introducing Dustin and special guests, controlling the PowerPoint slides, asking poll questions, and helping to facilitate the Q&A. Towards the end of the live stream, I conclude with additional information for future programs. And here's a bingo game that I created for individuals and families to have fun while staying home and as a way to stay connected with Archbold. I want to give a shout out and thank you to all the special guests for participating in our webinar, engaging with the viewers and answering questions. I also want to thank the community engagement team and Hillary for stepping in on the first live stream that we did. I want to share with you a short snippet from one of our Discovery Classroom episodes that we show every Tuesday in case you haven't seen one. I think it's amazing that we have this technology available for us to stream outside so that viewers from all over the country and the world can immerse themselves and learn about the local scrub habitat right here from their home. See if it'll start. So let's see what Dustin is up to out in the field. Over to you, Dustin.
Hey, Megan. Hey, everybody. I was just reading the locations that the participants are coming from, and my goodness, people are coming from all over the country, which is really exciting. If you're up in the cold north right now, might be a little bit of what you need, a little bit of Florida sunshine. It's a gorgeous day out here at Archbold Biological Station. It's almost 90 degrees, so it's a little hot, but it is beautiful. My phone may overheat. If that happens, I've got a cooler here and I'm gonna plunge it right in that cooler. We have a couple of guests coming on today, so if I get knocked off, they'll jump in and take over.
So according to the results pulled from Facebook Live and our Google surveys, we reached about 80 to 400 participants for each virtual Discovery Classroom event. The average age registered was 65 to 74 years old. And that goes to show you that no matter your age, you could still enjoy learning. Earlier, I mentioned our homeschool class, or our homeschool program. It consists of 4 sessions total, but the last one had to be canceled due to the coronavirus. So to keep our last homeschool class going, I was tasked with creating a virtual meeting and a backyard bio blitz activity for them to complete before the meeting. This allowed our homeschoolers to have a conversation and share what they found outside. And this was also great practice for upcoming virtual field trips and figuring out ways to make virtual meetings more fun and interactive. And with that, I'd like to thank all the volunteers, research staff, interns, and anyone who helped with our school programs. Thank you, Dustin, for being a great mentor, leader, always staying positive. Paul, my husband, he helped me with going to visit schools and helped me with some editing. And he's always by my side, just so very supportive. And a special thank you to Chris and Dr. Warren Abrahamson for supporting this internship, because without you, we couldn't have done so many great projects. So I'd like to end my presentation with another quote by Malala Yousafzai. "They cannot stop me. I will get my education, if it is in the home, school, or any place." Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Megan. That was great. Could you tell us all a little bit more about, with the Discovery Classroom, some of the changes and adjustments that we were able to make to overcome the hurdles of the first class?
Yeah, so for the first class that we had, there were a lot of difficulties. We started out our first episode with just a meeting setting, so it was not a webinar. So as participants were coming in, they were unmuted and their videos were on, even though I thought that I had turned them off, but that the meeting setting allows people to unmute and unvideo themselves, which I didn't know previously. So yeah, so that happened, and Dustin's phone kept overheating, so he was getting cut out. And then I had poor internet connection at my own home, so that caused me to get kicked out. And so now I work at I do the webinars at Archbold for better Wi-Fi. Dustin takes out ice packs and umbrellas when he goes out in the field, and we switched to doing webinars, which already mutes and turns everyone's videos off, but it allows for poll questions and Q&As, so we can still interact with the public. But yeah, so when I was editing the video, Dustin had to go out in the field and redo the whole episode, the whole first episode, and I basically just put it in the computer and had to put PowerPoint slides over people that were popping up, and so that we'd be able to put it on YouTube.
Megan, we have a question from Rodrigo Tavara. As a middle school teacher, this sounds like an amazing resource. What do you think is going to be the best takeaway going forward if and when we do return to our school sites?
Well, personally, the best takeaway is maybe, at least for Archbold, is that we can continue to do these virtual webinars, and maybe we could even reach out to elementary schools or middle schools or high schools and do virtual kind of field trips with the students. So bringing them back to public school classrooms. What would you say, Dustin?
I think this experience has changed all of the outdoor education sites, Archbold as well as others. We definitely don't want the classes to not get outside. We don't want to replace that, but I love the idea of adding more content before children visit or after they visit, so they can have follow-up. I like that idea. And reaching communities that are further away, or communities that just wouldn't get out to us for any number of reasons. We have another question. This is from Bill Smith. For virtual classrooms aimed at schools, has there been any linkage with schools beyond Florida? It seems to me that nature studies classes would find this area as a nice compare and contrast across the continent.
No, I don't that we've reached out of Florida.
I can jump in on this one and add a little bit more. We have had participants on these Discovery Classroom events from across the United States, and we've had people from England on as well. We have advertised it in the local newspaper and on our Facebook page, but we've also sent it out to our larger email list advertising it, which has people from all over the place. There is another something in the works with field stations from around North America and some overseas as well. That's still in the works, but what we want to do is have those exact experiences. Those are aimed more for college students. So if you imagine your college student being able to take a class that is team taught by someone in 2 different places, that type of thing.
Awesome, and I did forget to say this funny quote, this awesome quote that that I got from one of the participants. Should I read it?
Yeah.
I just think it's so great. So somebody after the first episode said, remember to press the magic button that prevents all technical glitches from occurring. Otherwise, continue doing what you're doing. Technical issues are always possible as long as technology is used. However, y'all tried and did work the problem and did not spin around in circles and blame the tech problems. Great job. I just love that. Don't forget to press the magic button.
We have another question from Dr. Betsy Boughton. Great, Megan. Nice quotes. What was your favorite moment of your internship?
Oh man, so many great moments. I did so much. One of my favorite moments, I guess, was doing the film festival, because I just thought it was so fun, and it was something that I've never done before at that magnitude. So I think that was really fun, and if I could do it again, I would, for sure. Thanks for the question.
That's all the questions we have right now. If you have any more, please put them up. Oh, I see I've got a message saying, talk a little bit more about that project with the other field stations. So,
Yeah.
Megan, if you give me a minute, I can just talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, go for it.
The Organization of Biological Field Stations, or OBFS, is an international organization. And probably a month and a half ago, we started saying, oh my gosh, we've all got to figure out what we're doing. So let's do some group Zoom meetings and all get together, because we're having to cancel our college classes and our public outreach. How can we work together? We did a lot of brainstorming and realized that a lot of our field stations already have our own resources, or we could create types of resources, like, for instance, a 5-minute walk through a habitat with no talking, just walk through a habitat. And that if field stations from, across North America all did that same thing, there'd be a lot of examples that students could use. We realized we needed a way to organize all of this, and we needed some help. So the National Science Foundation has just approved our grant to do just that. It's pretty exciting. We're going to work on a way to help direct students to all of those resources, and work more on creating actual partnerships too, where virtual field trips would take place at more than one site, those types of things. I don't see any more questions. So I think that's it. Thank you very much, Megan.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dustin, very much.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was a great job. And thank you to both of our interns and to all of you for tuning in with us each week. Next week, we have our last Discovery Classroom event of the season. On Tuesday, May 12th, Dustin Angel presents Animal Skulls, Skins, and Bones. And on Thursday, join us for a special distinguished guest speaker as Dr. Erica Milam of Princeton University presents Landscapes and Seascapes of Behavioral Ecology.